But speaking of new signings, Xabi Alonso has officially begun his life as Chelsea's new manager. And speaking to the club's media on day one, he did not hide his excitement, calling it a genuine privilege to join a club with the kind of history and success Chelsea has built over the last 2 decades. I personally am a huge fan of this appointment. Nadine, what are your initial thoughts on Xabi Alonso at Chelsea?
Yeah, I think this might turn out to be one of the most fascinating appointments the Premier League has seen in years. Remember, this is the man who's won the Bundesliga title with Bayer Leverkusen a couple of years back in the 2023-24 campaign. And at the time, it was regarded as a genuinely historic achievement with 28 wins, 6 draws and 0 defeats. And I think I said to you, we've got to go for a weekend. We never made it, but it's still on my to-do list to sort of experience the Leverkusen way. And I think that success in Germany made him one of the most in-demand coaches in world football. But after that, he only lasted around 7 months in Real Madrid. So are Chelsea taking a chance on him? Alonso has made it very clear that he wants a squad at Chelsea with the right balance between quality and mentality. And already thinks Chelsea are starting the new season with good energy. So he obviously clearly is very, very excited about his own appointment. And when you look at Chelsea's business this summer, it's been relentless, hasn't it? When I last looked, Chelsea squad was numbering nearly 40 players. I think I've got my maths right, which probably means a serious trim is coming for the transfer window, which shuts on the 1st of September, so a month away. Alonso himself admitted there'll be plenty more movement yet. So it does seem like it's going to be a revolving door. And that plan, it sounds like, will keep evolving right up to deadline day in September. So James, I've got several questions for you on this. So do you think Alonso is the right fit at Chelsea? And what do you think of his signings so far? And what impact will they have? Sorry, there's a few questions there, but I'd love to get your thoughts.
I think with the players that Chelsea have in terms of his tactics, I think he's a great fit. So Xavi Alonso plays a back three, a 3-4-3 system, three centre backs, wing backs, and we've seen wing backs work fantastically well in the past at Chelsea. Obviously, when Antonio Conte was there and won the Premier League with them, that system there was in place. And I just think he was so good at Leverkusen. I know what happened at Real Madrid was difficult, but they have big egos at Real Madrid. And Xabi Alonso himself is, he's a humble guy. He's not necessarily someone to manage egos. He's a tactician, but it didn't work out at Real Madrid. I still believe he has so much more to offer. And I think the signings are really interesting. I think Morgan Rogers coming into Chelsea is a really, really interesting signing. I mean, when you're paying £117 million, that's the club saying we want to win the league. We want this player to be our difference and win the league for us. And him and Cole Palmer, obviously off the pitch, I don't know if you knew this, Nadine, but they're best of friends. They
No.
were in the academy for Man City. And so, yeah, that'll be interesting to see their partnership particularly. And we expect they'll be playing together. Rodgers will be on the left side and Palmer on the right side, and those two can interchange as the two tens. But they've also signed fullback Marco Palestra from Atlanta, Max Lacroix as well from Maxence Lacroix from Crystal Palace for £50 million at the age of 26, which interestingly is the Blues' oldest signing since 2022, and he's penned a contract until 2032. So the spending is a real sign of intent. Valentin Barco's also on their radar, who was part of Argentina's World Cup winning squad, which could see them having two Argentinian midfielders. So maybe Chelsea will be a side that teams don't want to come up against because of that Argentine aspect. But yeah, I think Chelsea have real potential, and actually, I'm going to say it myself here now. I don't want to say dark horses because they're a big club, but they're my outsider to win the Premier League. I really do believe that. And when we look at Lacroix, for example, he joined Palace from Wolfsburg in 2024 for an initial 15.5 million. So well done to Palace for making that profit. And he was fantastic. He made 55 appearances in all competitions and obviously won the Conference League which was the club's first ever major European trophy. He made 3 appearances for France during the 2026 World Cup. And I think when I saw players like Reece James, like Morgan Rogers, I'm just really happy to be also in a way in their story, to write part of the Chelsea story with them, is what he said. And he also said he's really proud, really happy to be part of this beautiful project, and he just wants to start playing, and he's happy to see the guys. He went on for a while and he was really, really delighted to join by the sounds of it. And I think Chelsea supporters are also supporting this signing. Deals for winger Giovanni Quenda, too, from Sporting, and striker Emmanuel Mega from Strasbourg were agreed in 2025, with both players formally completing moves this month. They've obviously also offloaded Alejandro Garnacho to Aston Villa, who was struggling, to say the least, at Chelsea. And they're also in talks to bring in a bit of experience too. Brighton striker Danny Welbeck and Brentford midfielder Jordan Henderson, who, wow, he's had some career, Jordan Henderson, considering half the time he's not even on the pitch. I'm not, that's me trying to get my thoughts across, that I'm not a huge Jordan Henderson fan, but he must add something to the dressing room, because he's had a wide range of clubs up his sleeve, and bringing that experience in actually is something that I think is going to do Chelsea wonders for the dressing room. They've won, they've been in big games. Danny Welbeck's played at Old Trafford. Jordan Henderson's won the Premier League and he's been part of World Cups. He's won the Champions League. So, yeah, really, really interesting. What are your thoughts, Nadine?
Well, being a QPR fan, obviously there's a deep-seated hatred towards Chelsea, but obviously I have to put that to one side. But any of my QPR friends listening to this podcast will be in horror the way that you're talking up Chelsea at the moment. The weird thing is Chelsea don't give a damn about QPR anymore, because we don't often have the chance to play them now, being in separate leagues. But actually, yes, I mean, it's interesting hearing your assessment of those players, and it does sound like Alonso knows what he's doing. Although, some of those players that you mentioned, a couple of them, they were already in the bag back in 2025. I think you mentioned someone from Sporting and Emmanuel from Strasbourg. That was agreed in 2025. So that's got to be before his era. So, would he be into those signings? Help me there, James. What is that about?
Yeah, well, those signings, as you said, they are before his era, but they hadn't been formally completed. And if he was strongly against them, Chelsea could have found a way to wiggle themselves out of that, but they haven't. And I think Giovanni Quenda from Sporting is a perfect example of a Xabi Alonso type player. He can play in the 10, he can play at wing back. And Xabi Alonso, what we saw at Bayer Leverkusen was the wing backs, notably Grimaldo, Frimpong, those two, Grimaldo being the left wing back, Frimpong being the right wing back, these really fast, energetic players that can go up and down the pitch. So I think they are Xabi Alonso signings for sure, Nadine.
Yeah. So the mood inside the Chelsea dressing room already sounds very upbeat. The season hasn't started yet. We're talking about the third week in August. And I'm just thinking the likes of centre-back Levi Colwill saying Chelsea are ready to challenge Arsenal. I mean, you've already said they could potentially be sort of the dark horses for the season. But just bearing in mind, this is the bit I do like to remind people, Chelsea only finished 10th place last season. Yes, with a different manager, with 52 points. And they missed out on all European competitions for this season, which I suppose in one respect they can then focus on the Premier League and domestic competitions and not be overstretched by all those European commitments. But is this just fighting talk from Levi Colwill, or do you see Chelsea as real contenders this season? I mean, I think you've sort of already answered that, but I'd like you to have another go at it. Really think about what you've just said.
Yeah, I do see them as real contenders this season. And there's something about Xabi Alonso and Chelsea that does just excite me in the way they're buying players and attacking nature of players. It excites me a bit more than the Arsenal team that won it last year, for example, who were built on foundations of strong, robust defence, set pieces. Whereas I don't think this Chelsea side will be like that. I think they'll be a extensively attacking side. Even their back three are very much ball playing players. Levi Colwill's fantastic, and had he been not injured last season, I certainly believed he would have been in the England squad in the World Cup. So Chelsea, for me, is one to keep a really, really close eye on. I think they could have a good start and potentially a title-winning team this season.